Hey gang, sorry about that. I've learned a new lesson that you only have a certain amount of screen time on this app that I'm using. So keeping that in mind, I'll keep my eye on that on these videos from now on. Um, but where I left off, and I'm pretty sure I left off here, is reflecting over y is equal to x. And again, I drew the line y is equal to x, and then it came up with these reflection points, which gave me this image over here. And then we found the pattern between the pre-image points in green and the image points in blue, that the x and the y are just switched on those. So where I left off was graphing over the y is equal to negative x. So like I said, y is equal to negative x is y is equal to mx plus b, where the b is 0, and now you have a negative 1 over 1 slope. So you'll be going down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, so on and so forth. So you end up with this line right here, and we're going to be reflecting over that. So to get a nice straight line, I'm going to use this tool right here, creating this nice straight line now. So still using the perpendicular distance here, I'm going to try to come up with some image points. The image points will look for u prime. That's an easy one. It's got one diagonal in this direction, so I go one diagonal on the opposite side. And so there's my u prime. And u prime's happening on the y-axis there at 0, 2. So u prime is at 0, 2. Then v prime, again, that's one diagonal, two diagonal, three diagonal. Go three diagonal on the other side. 1, 2, 3. So there's my v prime. So v prime is at, let's see, 1 comma 5. 1 comma 5. And then j prime would be down here at 1, 2 and a half, 1, 2. So j prime's over here, and that's happening at what? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So 4 and 1. So again, if I graph those with a straight line, it would look something like this, and it'll look reflected over y is equal to negative x. So there's your reflected image. So let's see if we can find a pattern here, just like we did before on the previous problem. So my u is at 0, 2. So let's look where the pre-image is. So u, the image point, is on the x-axis, so that's at 2, 0. So u is at 2, 0. V prime is over here, so the v pre-image point is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 5, negative 1. So v prime v is at negative 5, negative 1. And lastly, j here is at negative 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 1, negative 4. So hopefully you've identified that pattern by now. And notice that the x and y values are flipped. And then they're opposite as well. Oh, the u is negative 2, 0, sorry. So again, I switch them and change the sign. Switch these, change the sign. Switch these, change the sign. So basically the rule then is this. Again, if the pre-image point is a comma b, now I'm going to tack on a negative to each of these. And that's the pattern for flipping over y is equal to negative x. I'll draw an arrow in here too to show that it's a transformation. So down here are the patterns that we just mentioned. Again, when I reflect over the x-axis, that's going to change the y value on the image point. When I flip it over the y-axis, that changes the x value of the image point to opposite. If I flip it over y is equal to x, remember you can just switch the a and the b out. And then when you flip it over y is equal to negative x, you can do the same thing. You also have to make them opposite though. So those are the patterns for those 4 types of lines. Now, this paragraph right here says that not all lines are going to be those 4 lines. You can have any other type of line that you can reflect over as well. These are just common ones that we're going to look at. So examples down here, these are just practice problems basically. So here I want to reflect it across x is equal to 1. So again, I recognize that as a vertical line. It's going to cross at 1 on the x-axis. So here is x is equal to 1. So I'm going to come up with reflection points over this, counting spaces. So here's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There's a prime. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's B prime. Here's Jenny's joining me. Say hi, Jenny. Yep. So then we'll do N prime. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll just graph these straight lines in like this. You'll be able to see the reflection then over x is equal to 1. Oops. I want to draw a line. And there you can see the reflection. Here we're going to graph it over y is equal to -1. I quickly recognize that as a horizontal line that crosses at -1. So now you'll notice that I'm going to have the line of reflection go right through the shape. That means that the reflection is going to be on top of the pre-image. So again, if I draw on the points here, I go to the the line of reflection here, and then I go down here. Here's F prime. G prime would be 1, 2 in this direction, so G prime's up here. B prime would be down here. So now you can see, since the line goes through the shape itself, the reflection is on top of itself. It's kind of a unique look to that. Then a challenge problem down here. So here's one of not of the 4 lines that we talked about. It wants to be reflected over y is equal to -x plus 1. So if you remember y equals mx plus b, the b in this instance, which is the y-intercept, is that 1. So I'd probably graph the line of reflection first on this one. And to do that, I'd probably start with that 1. So this 1 is the b, and that's happening right here. From there, I have a -1 slope. So we've done that before. So rise of 1, run of 1. Rise of 1, run of 1. So you end up with this line like this. It works in the same way. So once you have your line in, you're just going to count the distances. So there's my line of reflection. And now I just count distances. So half a diagonal, whole diagonal. So there's 1, 2 and a half, 1, 2. This is 1, 2 and a half, 1, 2. So now you can see a reflected shape right here. And it looks reflected over that line. Alright, so I have, after you've done this, I want you to go to, I wonder if I can go to another website here. Let's try it. So I'm going to try to put in your folder for today. I wanted you to work on this. So this is the link I gave you. It's going to take you to Khan Academy right here. I want you to work through all of these topics over here. Again, it might give you a brief, boring 5-minute video, if that. Work through those, but then it has practice problems. And again, you can try the problems. Again, if you're wrong, it'll tell you this is why you're wrong. If you don't know how to do it, you can click on something. It'll give you a brief video of how to do that type of problem. But again, I want you to work through all of these after you've gone through the notes. I think it even goes down a little bit further. I don't know. So again, you're going to work through all of those about reflection. So that'll be a part of your day as well. After you're done this part of the Khan Academy, again, if you go to the folder, if I can go to the folder here, I don't have it all completed, but again, this is your assignment right here. And again, I want you to try to scan that or whatever method you choose, and then if you could submit that so I can take a look at how you're doing. So that is the second day of reflections. Tomorrow we'll look at another transformation, but I want to see how you guys are able to do on this. All right, I will see you guys soon.